Hi, Castlebarians. It is now time to have a casual conversation for the beneficial good of our community. The show you are about to listen to is called What's Up, Castleberry? And now it is my absolute pleasure to introduce to you your hosts, Andy and Drew.
Oh, and don't forget that lovely producer, Robin.
What's up, podcast listeners? Welcome back to the What's Up Castleberry podcast. It's Andy and Drew here for episode number 81 of the What's Up Castleberry podcast. Andy and I are local friends, residents, pastors who love to have conversations about all things Castleberry. Andy, welcome, my friend. It is, as of this recording, back to school week. The minivans are out, the the traffic is up, lots of hustling and bustling in our little community. How you doing? How are your kids?
Drew, they're doing well. We're doing well. Just before we talk about that, though, I appreciated on your introduction that you said we were local friends. And I just want you to know, even if we lived apart, we'd still be friends. So
Indeed.
Just want to put that on the table for you.
At one point in time, we lived literally across the pond from one another. And
that's right. We were global friends. Well, we weren't really friends then.
We weren't friends
know each
then,
other.
No.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Anyway, I'm glad we are now. All right. So, yeah, you asked a question about school. And I think, man, that has been the dominating news item in many, many households in our community. For us, we sent our two kids to high school for the first time. I always get pretty emotional on first day. I think the Boohoo breakfast was kind of made for me, and just many fond memories about holding the kids' hands and walking them to school and the whole deal. But this time, which is a big milestone for us, as my daughter's going into her senior year and our son is a freshman starting high school for the first time, they just got in her car, drove and waved. And I'm like, that's it.
Wow.
And Tracy and I are like, that's it. It's happening so fast. But
sure. Andy, as an aside, as you think about this transition, your children moving up in high school, when you think about years past and kind of speaking on behalf of parents, was there any fun Searles traditions that you all do, or maybe even still continue in the mornings or checking in after school? I know my parents, it was always the have a good day, be safe, have fun. And then afterwards it was, what did you learn today? And inevitably I'd say nothing.
We have a couple, honestly, high school starts so early, though. The first bell goes at 7:15, that there's not a lot that we're going to do before school because it's just pandemonium anyway, so we're not going to add to that. But traditionally, we will sit down as a family the night before, and we'll just kind of recap the summer a little bit, goof around a little bit, and we'll pray together for the new school year before we try to have an early night. And that has become a very special thing. And then after the first day, we'll go get some ice cream. So after this first day, we went and got some Jeremiah's, and that was nice. So those are some little traditions. I know different families celebrate in different ways, and I'm glad that we do. It's a momentous occasion, and I think it's important that we kind of landmark and celebrate these key moments.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I've noticed as I am friends with several teachers, both in the public school as well as the private school setting, and even some homeschool parents, that really this year there is this sense of excitement, but also quite a bit of anxiety and I think uneasiness. The COVID-19 virus has kind of sprung back with the Delta variant. There's much to do just about vaccines and masks and how close individuals are to one another and all. And, it just seems like there is a lot of kind of collective anxiety as we enter the school year. Any encouragement that you might share with any of our parents, grandparents, and parent and grandparent-like figures listening to this?
Drew, I think that's incredibly insightful. And your phrase collective anxiety, feels very real. I've experienced the same thing from teachers, administrators, parents, and students, as well. It's like we're not going in with a brand new start because we got this weight of what's going on, how's all this going to play out, are we going to be safe, those kind of things. But I think I would just encourage people, let's keep on keeping on. let's be wise, let's be safe, let's be thoughtful, let's be considerate of one another, and let's slowly walk forward together. There have been tough times in the past that we've got through. There will be tough times in the future that we'll have to face. So my self-talk recently has been pace yourself, rest well, organize well, but just walk slowly and, try and care for people in the midst of these confusing times. I'm not quite sure how that plays out on a community level, but Drew, I think you're stating something quite profound when you say there's this kind of collective anxiety. What would you say to that?
Maybe the only thing to add is assuming and giving people the benefit of the doubt upon first interaction. I think there's sometimes, especially when it's your child or your grandchild, there's this immediate kind of defensiveness or I need to protect. And of course, you are called to be the protector and provider for that child, but just recognize and know that we really have, and we featured them, in fact, on some of our episodes, we have some great people that serve in our school systems that love children, that desire that they learn and be educated and have a good school experience. And so I would say in general, give folks the benefit of the doubt and try to be part of the solution rather than going to social media or even just amongst friends, pointing the finger and being critical. I think you'll have a much greater experience, and I think you will bless the schools. And in fact, I want to give a shout out to a couple of our PTA ladies over at Castleberry Elementary who we had on recently, Jennifer Hughes and Lindsay Feist, two women who are great examples of that. They volunteer their time, they get to know the teachers and administrators and staff there at the school and have been part of the working solution, which in turn we've seen just real gains from that school. And I know there's other examples as well. Andy, just real quickly as we get ready to transition, what are you thinking in regards to your relationship with the new Sterling Park principal? How have you had a chance to speak with her and encourage her? I can imagine there's some collective anxiety in her taking on the position of a new principal, but what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's a personal tradition for me, because I'm pretty close to several principals and teachers, and I'm an early riser, and I know that they are too on that first day of school. I just dropped them a little text and, hey, I'm thinking about you. You're going to rock it today, praying for you, that kind of stuff. So, I've done that with several local principals, and I really mean it. As you're talking about this collective anxiety and, talking about the role of teachers and principals, one thing that struck me, though, is that these leaders, the principals and the teachers, have to carry with them a non-anxious presence. And I think, Drew, certainly in my leadership that I offer in several different areas, one of the best things that I can do is not get anxious myself when everybody around me is. I've seen a non-anxious presence in a lot of our leaders, and I think that kind of calms us all somewhat.
Perfect. I think that's the perfect segue to move forward in our episode to something that is the opposite of anxiety. Well, maybe for Andy, it's not.
It is definitely anxiety producing. And every week you say that is the perfect segue towards, and it's just not a perfect segue. There is no perfect segue towards your jokes.
Jokes are great. They're always applicable no matter what the situation or topic. Let's do it, folks. It's time for the dad joke of the week.
All right.
Here it is. Education themes. I went Google search and I found one that applies to going back to school. Andy, why was the teacher wearing sunglasses in their classroom?
I don't know, Drew. Why was the teacher wearing sunglasses in their classroom?
They had bright students. There you go. If you have a bright student, brag about them on our What's Up Castleberry podcast or social media feed. We want to hear from you. There you go. There's a little plug.
Yeah, Drew, you moved on very quickly after that joke because Robin's not here to laugh and you knew I wasn't going to.
Exactly. We're just going to let that one ride. Well, folks, it is time for...
It is now time for your local update about things happening in your community. It is now time for Castleberry in the News.
So today in the news, we are talking about a institution in our community of Castleberry, we wanted to highlight and recognize the work of the Castleberry Golf Course. That's right, the Castleberry Golf Course, located right in the heart of Castleberry. No doubt, if you live in our community, you have driven around by those holes there. Maybe you've had the duck a golf ball coming your way, probably hit by me. But Andy, you received recently a little flyer highlighting some of the stats and just cool features of the Castleberry Golf Course.
Yes, and I love the golf course too. I'm not a golfer, but I have walked around it several times just on my morning exercises. I don't know if you're allowed to do that, so maybe I shouldn't say that, but I guess it's owned by the city, so it's kind of public property, is it?
And it's before anybody comes out there and hits, so you're not going to get a stray ball inside of your head. You're good.
And I'm not going to sue anyone if they do anyway. So anyway, okay. All right. But yeah, so the golf course is obviously always looking to increase its revenue, which we appreciate because they should, both as a business and there's benefits to our city when that happens. And so one of the ideas that they came up with was some sponsorship on their scorecards, which I thought was a creative idea. And so they approached me to see if I would be interested. And I'm assuming they did the same for some other local businesses as well. But in doing so, they had a little information sheet with some stats about the golf course, which I thought was fascinating. Drew, how many rounds of golf are played on the Castleberry Golf Course annually?
How many rounds of golf? Okay, so that would be golfers. They're going to play 18 holes going through. I'm going to say, I don't know, 20,000.
That's not too bad. The actual answer is 35,000.
Wow, 35,000. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I don't have a comparison, but that sounds pretty impressive. Next question, because there's really only two that I can turn into questions. What percentage of players at the Castleberry Golf Course own homes in Castleberry?
Oh, I thought you were going to say how many are professional.
Oh, well, there may be one. In fact, as an aside, one of our previous guests, Doug Prusak, who works at Christian Help, is actually going to be on ESPN soon because he's involved in a national competition for longest driver.
No way. Yeah. Oh, that's so go Doug. Yeah. Go Castleberry. Yeah, nice.
So
nice.
I'm sure he's played on that course too. But the question is, what percentage of local homeowners
are from Castleberry?
Yeah, golfers are from Castleberry.
Yeah, golfers from Castleberry. Yeah. Gosh, I would assume it's fairly inexpensive. So I would assume there'd be people from other parts of town and around. I don't know, maybe 60%.
It's actually 90%.
Whoa. So we really are. We are a hometown local golf course. I love it.
We put the local in local golf course.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. I played, Andy, just to give the listener a little behind the curtain. I played this course for my birthday just a couple of weeks ago with a couple of friends. And we had not only a phenomenal time, though the weather held out. It was absolutely pristine conditions on the course. The greens were really nice. The grass was green. And I will tell you that there are a number of golf balls in and around the waters, the trees, and the streets of Castleberry.
All from yours
truly.
Kindly donated by Drew Taylor.
Yes. Yeah. So kids, the students, that's maybe a little part-time job for you. Go in there, legally, of course, find some golf balls and sell them back to patrons. But that's really cool. And we are very thankful for the city for purchasing the course several years back, for investing money in the course. I know, in fact, I was driving the other night home from an event and it was like maybe 9:00 at night. And I looked over and I saw a couple of golfers playing glow stick golf. And it was really, really cool. Yeah, they had glow up balls and the pen was glow, like a green glow to it. And it was neat. They were playing at nighttime. They do that every so often. So
that's that must look a little spooky from a distance, I would think. That's funny.
No, aliens have not arrived. They just golfers.
So all that to say, if you're a local business and you are looking to support another local business that has a high exposure to a lot of golfers and a lot of local people in a way on a little scorecard that most golfers will have close to them for 3 or 4 hours, then reach out to the golf course. I'm sure that they would love to share with you some of their very reasonable sponsorship packages.
Excellent. And speaking of sponsors and partners, we are proud for today's podcast partner.
Church Together exists to connect people together with Christ in our community and for our city. Together is the word that defines what occurs when relationships are working well, and we want to help you make life's most important relationships work. We'd love for you to join us on a Sunday morning at 10 o'clock and find out more about our church community at www.ourchurchtogether.com.
Well, welcome back, listener. This is our favorite part of our episode each week as we get to hear and learn about all the interesting people in Castleberry. And today, our guest is that. She is a very interesting person, a very influential person in our city. This is Deborah Warner from the law offices of Warner and Warner. Deborah, so glad that you're here today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Well, first off, right off the bat, Andy is not here today, so we get to kind of cut loose and start with something that he always despises. Whenever we have a UF grad, since I am a Gator grad myself, we've got to start off with a Go Gators.
Absolutely. Go Gators.
And you have a future Gator, I hear, in your family.
I do. We are so excited. Tomorrow, actually, we are driving up to the University of Florida with our 18-year-old to move him in. And he starts classes up there at UF on August 23rd.
Wow. That's so exciting. Yeah. How are you feeling? Is this your first child going off away?
It is. We have a 16-year-old that's still in high school. And then, of course, the 18-year-old. And I think our emotions, our feelings are all over the place. We're excited for him. We are hoping that everything goes well. A little scared in that regard. Today, the conversation was how jealous we are of him, because that's just kind of the best time.
Absolutely. I too am jealous. I miss those days, look back on them fondly. I hope your son has just an amazing first semester of college, and all of those listeners who have little ones being sent away, you can attest to that feeling that Deborah is expressing, but very bittersweet, right? Both excited for them, but also sad for the family. Deborah, round out the rest of the family. Tell us about your husband and kind of what some of the fun things that you all do as a family and who you are.
So my husband is Scott Warner, and he is also my law partner. Very brief history. Scott and I actually went to high school together and met in high school debate class.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, He's years ahead of me, so he's a little bit older. In my mind, I've been dating Scott since I was 17 years old. So that's my husband. And we have Evan, who's 18 years old, and that's one going to University of Florida. And then we have Aiden, and he is a junior at Winter Park, and he's a football player. So that's where we spend a lot of our time as a football field.
All right.
And,
so we know where the Warners are on Friday nights. Cool.
Yeah. And then on the weekends, Scott and I try to get away to do some mountain biking out in Chuliota or anywhere we can get off road.
Excellent. Very, very neat. And so the fact that you all met in high school on your high school debate team and now are lawyers professionally, you all are obviously used to speaking to one another, to maybe learning how to respectfully disagree within your relationship. How is it working alongside your spouse every day?
It's a lot easier than raising two boys together. It's really been good. When we first started, we were both at separate firms in downtown Orlando, and two larger firms. And it was funny because we would go home and talk about our cases and the issues we were having to research and deal with. And we would try to help one another and then go into the next day and take credit for all the information, that we got from the other one. Yeah, we've always brainstormed, and like everybody else, we all have our strengths and our weaknesses, and we complement each other. And so I think it's worked very, very well for us. We've been practicing together since 2007.
The description of you really being a team, both professionally and in family life, and wrangling and raising up two boys, that takes a lot of teamwork and being united on all accounts. Deborah, tell us a little bit about, I know Warner and Warner, I see the sign right there on 1792. You're right there next to the John Jones office, kind of over the overpass there at 436 and 1792. Tell us a little bit about your story and how you've been practicing since 2007. What are some of your vision for for the firm?
Sure. Okay. So I've been practicing since 1998, but I have been in Castleberry since 2005. Scott came out here from Winter Park in 2007. And in 2010, we actually developed Warner and Warner. And it's really to provide, we're a personal injury firm. So we handle automobile accidents, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, group home abuse, all different types of injury claims. And we really just strive to give clients a personal experience and guide them through a very difficult process. And one of the things I think that really I'm just so proud of with our practice is that our employees have all been here for many years. I mean, some of them have been here since the firm started. And that just makes a difference. I think they get to know the clients well. There's continuity in how the clients are treated, and it really works well that way.
I love that answer. And that really speaks to the heart of you all, as well as John Jones, the longevity and the passion for the local community, Castleberry. One of the questions that Andy proposed here that I think is kind of fits that theme is that oftentimes when we think personal injury lawyer, we think of the big billboards on I-4 and other places, but really those are almost like celebrities where those folks are kind of removed from just the everyday regular citizens of our community. Why have you found, and Scott as well, found Warner and Warner to be about reaching into the community? And tell us some of the ways in which you guys are doing that.
First of all, if you think about the advertising firms and the firms on the billboards or TV, they're not dependent on people having a good experience for those people to come back or for those people to refer friends or family members. They're dependent upon advertising to generate numbers for their firms.
Wait, you're saying not everyone wins millions of dollars at every...
No, there's so many variables there. And whether that's a little bit misleading or not, I don't know. But really, our goal is to make sure that the clients have a personalized experience. They're going to work with the attorneys. They know what attorney's working on their case. They have my contact information. And so that really, sets our firm apart from the advertisers. And so what we do is, Scott and I've actually each been president of the Seminole County Bar Association and the Seminole County Inns of Court. And so we've really established relationships with the judges and other lawyers in Seminole County as well. And so that has been invaluable to us to get the word out that there are other options for people, because a lot of people go to the bigger advertisers in part because they don't know where else to turn. They don't know a lawyer. So if we can be more involved in the community and let people know that they have at least options in the event they're in a car crash or something like that, that's how we go about trying to do that.
That's so true. It is kind of just common to remember that catchy phrase or advertisement, but yeah, to look locally to seek, hey, who is actually here and about caring for those in Seminole County and even more specifically Castleberry. Deborah, you serve on the chamber board, the Chamber of Commerce, that is, for Castleberry. How has that experience been for you?
It's been a great experience. So I've been here on 1792 in Castleberry since 2005. And I have seen this city change so much. And I mean, it's really a city that we should all be extremely proud of. Some of the individuals who were on the board before me have just done an amazing job. I mean, like Colleen Huffer and You Can't Bill, they just worked so hard and put so much effort into making this a better community. I've been fortunate to reap the benefit of their hard work for all these years. And so now it's just my opportunity to try to give back.
I love that. Thinking about the past, celebrating the past, and also looking ahead and contributing to the future. Andy and I feel very much the same way. We often say we're, pastors of particular congregations here in the city, but more so we belong to the city. We desire to really represent and care for the needs of the city holistically. All right, let's have some fun, Deborah. You've been, like you said, an attorney since 1998, been in Castleberry since 2005. I'm imagining you've had an odd call, a request or two, without, of course, giving away any names or details. Do you have a funny or strange case that you personally or your company has taken on?
There's so many.
I can imagine.
There's just so many. Unfortunately, actually, a lot of the cases we see are tragic cases.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're dealing with nursing home abuse and group home abuse and medical malpractice and wrongful death cases, I mean, it's the things we see. I mean, I wish that you could probably be in our office and help us out, Drew, because we see a lot of stuff and we try to help people and counsel people, but we can't do your job. You're good at that. One thing though I was thinking about is we represented a gentleman in he was a workers' compensation claimant. Now, we don't do workers' compensation law, but we were called in because a doctor that the comp carrier sent him to told him that he was fine. And this poor man had fallen off the top of a ladder. His leg was numb, his back hurt, like clearly it wasn't fine. So he was basically being denied care by the comp carrier because they were relying on a neurosurgeon who said he was fine. And so we got involved from a medical malpractice standpoint, and it turned into a 7-year battle with the work comp carrier. And what we discovered, we actually had to recreate their computer system because they changed systems and retrieve all their information. Wow. We had the opportunity to read their claims notes and read what they were saying about a client. They actually had other medical opinions that they hid from him. And it sadly turned out that after about a year of them delaying him treatment, he became a quadriplegic.
Oh, my goodness.
It was awful. What was really eye-opening to me in this whole process was how the adjusters, and these are seemingly really decent people, how could they do this to someone? And we realized in reading through their case notes is this was not an individual to them. It wasn't a human being. It was a case number. It was a claim number.
Right.
He was claim whatever. And that was really interesting to me to watch how people who are otherwise normal people who you would interact with in society and everything's good, how they have been almost programmed in a way to treat individuals a certain way because they're in the comp system or because they're an auto accident person. And so over the years, we've really struggled with trying to connect better with some of these adjusters so they can understand the human side of our clients. That was one of the cases that really stood out.
That is remarkable and really probably exhibit A of why Warner & Warner and lawyers exist. It's to walk alongside the actual human being and provide just services for injuries. Thank you for sharing that. That is quite the case though, to kind of be able to see both sides right there in the middle. Hey, just a couple of more kind of fun questions as we get ready to wrap up our conversation with you. This has been so great. We've been wanting to talk to you for quite a while, and I'm thrilled to be able to hear your insight and wisdom. Speaking of wisdom, you all share an office space right down from John Jones, who is really a Castleberry legend. On our little podcast, we recognized him as one of the citizens of the month when we were giving out little awards and things. John is literally known by everybody, it seems, in our community, and he's really, truly a Castleberry lifer. What's it like to work with him? What maybe wisdom have you gleaned from just being around John Jones?
It's been a privilege to work with him. Since 2005, I've been out here working with John. And actually, Scott, my husband, has been working with John since 1999. And so he's just been a true mentor to us. I tell people the thing that stands out the most to me, that I've taken the most from working with John, is how he relates to clients. And he uses his experience in a way that, let me give you an example. You go to John and you say, John, here's my problem. This is what's happening. And to me, it feels like it's the end of the world because I've never had this problem before. My world feels like it's just falling and collapsing on me. And John can look at you and he can say, I've seen this before and it turns out okay. It may not be easy. We may have some work to do to get there, but I've seen it before and it turns out okay. And those words, when you're in that situation, are just remarkably comforting. And so, honestly, a lot of times I will, over the years, think to myself, okay, how would John react to this situation? Because we all know my family's from New York. I was born in New York, and I'm not going to react well. So I need to think about that first and just really just learn from him a lot about the way we should be treating one another. And we are so grateful to John. So like I said, I've been out here in these buildings since 2005. And last November, John decided to allow Scott and I to purchase in the buildings with him. So if he retires or anything, we're gonna be able to stay, which was just, we were so grateful that he did that, and he recognized how important our practice in Castleberry is to us. And so he's like another dad to me. I can't thank him enough.
That's amazing. What a legacy that he's left. And I love, really what I gleaned from what you shared is the stability, right? There's something about, in a moment of crisis, and you all certainly in your line of work, in my line of work, we deal with those in crisis, and having the ability to just remain calm, remind people it's going to be okay, and to be an advocate for them is invaluable, more than really what you say. It's how you say it and how in your demeanor. That's great. What a testimony. All right, two more things, Deborah, on our way out the door. First and foremost, just you have been a long time here in Castleberry professionally. If you had 30 seconds to kind of tell maybe a newer resident to Castleberry or somebody that was considering moving to this community, what would you say to them? What would be your sales pitch, your elevator pitch, so to speak, on why Castleberry is so great?
I think that Castleberry just in the last 15 years has improved dramatically. The people who are running Castleberry, the people who are volunteering for the city of Castleberry, all have this same goal to make this just an amazing place. And we're seeing it, and we're seeing so much change in a short period of time. So I really think that, if you come to Castleberry now, you're going to enjoy the arts, you're going to enjoy the restaurants, and it has so much to offer. And when you think about our location and our proximity to downtown, our proximity to Sanford or just anywhere else, it's just really just kind of this nugget that really growing and improving. And I think people should get in before it gets too difficult to get in.
I love it. Very well said. I couldn't agree more. All right. Finally, how can people connect with you and Scott? Maybe they heard, have a claim that they want to file, or just learn more information about your involvement in the community. How can people connect with you?
We, of course, have a website, warnerandwarner.com. It's all spelled out. And you could Google Debbie Warner and Castleberry, and you'll come up with our website as well. But really, we're right here on 1792. There's a big orange and black sign out front. If somebody stops by, there's going to be somebody here to help out. And so any way anybody wants to connect with us, whether it be by internet, by phone, or we do have people that will stop in, we're here to try to help anybody in our community.
Fantastic. Please check out, listener, warnerandwarner.com. Debbie, thank you so much for your time today. It was a joy to have you on the podcast, and look forward to talking again soon.
Well, thank you so much, Deborah, for your time with us today. Thank you so much for your involvement in our community. Thank you for all that you do to help so many. We appreciate it. As we prepare to wrap up, listeners, we are going to close, as always, with some words of inspiration this week coming from Drew.
Thank you, Andy. So before I give this quote, I need to ask you, is the quote from Carl Jung or Carl Jung?
I've always said Young.
Young. Okay, that's what I thought. Even though there's some confusion from the person that said this quote, there is no confusion about the clarity of said quote from Carl Jung. His quote is, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. It's very easy in the scheme of life to make promises, to maybe write down goals, proclamations. I would never do blank. I will promise to always blank. And yet, if words are not followed up by action, they kind of ring hollow. And the reality is that because of our life and we're made to be in community with one another, we have the opportunity every single day to follow through with some various promises to yourself, maybe personal goals or expectations you have for the way you want to live your life, as well as what you desire to do for someone else. Ultimately, listener, what you say doesn't really matter. It's really about what you do. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Thank you, Carl Jung.
And thank you, Drew, for sharing that quote with us. Listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of the What's Up Castleberry podcast, where we have a casual conversation about our community, with our community, for our community. This podcast has been produced by our lovely producer, Robin. And for more information, we'd encourage you to check out our website, Facebook page, Instagram feed, or podcast feed, all with the same name, What's Up Castleberry. Please like and subscribe to our podcast if you like it. Please rate and review us. Until next time, we hope you have an amazing week.